Hello, hello, hello. I am Gabrielle, one of your KonnectUP hosts. We have one other one that may be able to come. It was a pop-up moment. So as usual, when we do pop-ups, we don't always know who can come in right away. So I'm here today with you guys. Let's close that. But I think we kind of advertised a little bit about what we will be talking about. And we wanted to start doing the hot topic, hot seat. So today, I definitely do have Mr. Barton on here with me. There he is. Hello, Mr. B.
Hey, sweetie.
So he's joining me today, as well as I think LaFay would be. Sheila and Latrice has some other stuff already on the books. Hey, Glenda Faye Barnes. Somebody else is on here. I don't know who that is. So if you could kindly introduce yourself as you come in. So we're here today. We want to start doing like hot seat. We used to do those a long time ago, where if there was something going on, that would be the topic of the day. And sometimes we ourselves would be in that hot seat. But today, a couple of things have been going on. We just got back from vacation. And so the first thing after getting in last night was he began to show me that I hadn't heard anything about the awards. And I was like, no, I hadn't. And so he began to show me the thing about Will and Jada and Chris Rock. So that's been one of the things on the hot seat today. And then we're gonna Glenda says, hey, Mr. Barton.
Hey, hey. I got to get used to this. I'm not used to this.
And so anybody that says you come in, please say hey, so we'll know you in here. And we can acknowledge you. We appreciate everybody for stopping in and chatting it with us. And so also the thing that I kind of mentioned before was the Honorable Judge Ketanji Brown Jackson, the confirmation hearings that was going on with that. So there are a lot of hot things going on right now. And I just kind of wanted to kind of talk about them and give our little opinion on it or what we thought about it or how we may have seen it. So I really wanted Mr. Barton on here as well because he gives us Chris give us a male perspective on some of these things that we're seeing, and you kind of hearing a little bit of everything on every side, what they think, how they feel. Some condoning, some saying no matter what. Some on Chris Rock's side, some on Will's side, and I'm kind of like there is no right side. Like I don't agree with how Will handled the situation as it was relating to Jada, in the joke that Chris Rock made as her being G.I. Jane. Of course, we found out later he was referring to, well, they think he was mainly pointing out the fact that she has alopecia. And you all know that alopecia is the losing of the hair. Hair loss that can be as a result of many things, stress, immune deficiency. It can be a lot of reasons that cause you to have
Pregnancy.
a hair loss. Huh?
Pregnancy, having a baby.
Yeah, they talked about pregnancy, the way you sometimes wear your hair. So many causes. In some cases it's fixable, some cases I'm treatable, some cases I'm hearing that it's not. So, Mr. Barton, the thing was that as he gave the joke, the first thing I think I pointed out at first, because we all kind of like jumping all over trying to figure out what the world just happened. And so sometimes we have to be quick to take a step back here and there and say, okay, let me look at it from a different perspective, or give ourselves time actually to digest what just happened. So we know that Will got up after the joke. Initially, it looks like appears that he's laughing with him, and then sees the look that Jada is giving because she's rolling her eyes. She's totally disapproving of this joke that Chris Rock is giving at the time. And so he ends up getting up, of course, as you know, many of us have seen the reviews or what have you, and goes up there and slaps Chris Rock on the stage in the middle of the Oscars. It's an open hand slap, which I was kind of surprised. Most men kind of, bout the fist, whatever, but it was open hand slap. And so where are you on this, or what are your thoughts as it relates to what occurred last night?
Well, initially I thought it was a joke. I really didn't think what we saw happening. Of course, I saw the replay. I don't watch the Oscars. I'm not into the entertainment sector like that. So I don't really watch those awards. I I don't really watch those awards. But anyway, it came down my news feed. And initially I thought it was a joke. I thought
Right.
it was a part of a skit, so to speak.
Right.
I never knew anything about Jada having the alopecia. I didn't know that. In my opinion, I think people in the entertainment world probably would know that. Me, I'm not really into that kind of entertainment, so I didn't know that. My initial response was that I felt like I could understand why Will Smith would be upset. Of course, they live in a fishbowl. Everything about their lives is always being scrutinized, and whether it was by design or whether you know they just were born into that lifestyle. A lot of people on that level live in a fishbowl. So initially, I was in agreement with him being upset with the joke. Chris Rock is a comedian, so everybody knows that they may be part of a joke, a part of this, whatever. But I felt like I understood his anger. I just didn't understand his response to his anger. Just actually walking up there on stage and just slapping this guy in the middle of a so-called performance. I didn't understand that.
Right. Right. I think the thing for me was that the response, and I think for me, what played a part in that was the age. At the age that this is happening for both of them, to me, played a role in that,
Right.
because you tend to think that as we get older, we can kind of control our responses more. But I have to say that that's on the outside looking into,
Right.
because there are also internal and external pressures that I believe that he's facing that we may not know anything about. Hey,
Right.
Rochelle, I'm glad you're
Right.
here. There are responses that we may not know anything. We're not the pressure that he's under, because there's a lot to unpack.
It
Honestly,
really is.
when
It
it
really
comes
is.
to him and Jada, it's just a lot to unpack. You talk about
Right.
open relationship and how that came down and how they had
Right.
to show about that. And it just often looks like he's trying to support her,
Mm-hmm.
irregardless of what they're going through. And from
Mm-hmm.
I'm thinking in my head, because I'm not a male, that from a male perspective, that can be a lot of pressure, because he's often the butt of a lot of jokes
He
when it
really
comes to
is. He really is. And he has, seemingly to me, he's handled all of that a lot better than I think a lot of men would have.
right.
So,
Right.
I
Because
know
I
a lot.
don't know, like I'm thinking about us, and I'm like, I don't see you handling real well that somebody pops up and we just gonna get on live TV and talk about in the middle of it when the pain is still fresh. I think is another
Right.
thing. Sometimes when you want to talk about these things, you gotta first of all get yourself to a certain point where you can have that
Right.
conversation, and I think
Right.
that that's something that we have to recognize with them as well. But I mean, I just don't think that. I disagree if with the way that Will handled himself,
Mm-hmm.
but I also have to say that it seemed to be very out of character for him.
Right.
From what a little bit that we do know about him, how he's handled himself so far.
Right.
So to me, when he got up and began to talk about it, I felt like that. Some people have said he's having a meltdown because of all the pressure that he's under.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. It seems like somebody saying he snapped. It just looked like that's what kind of happened.
Yeah.
And so I think we have to be careful not to call it right, because wrong is wrong no matter who does it, and
Right.
but we have to be careful though to realize that sometimes there can be enough pressure where people will snap and do things that under normal circumstances they would not do. And
Mm-hmm.
he did that. I can also say that there was a time in my life that I did that, where I was in a public place, nowhere near the level that he's
Mm-hmm.
at, but still I acted in a manner that was not the right manner to behave or present myself,
Right.
And so I can understand the buildup, the anger. I just hate that it happened on the stage that it happened on for him at a point where it was a historical moment for him, and everything, and to see it being overshadowed by this. And then I think now let's flip that Chris Rock, I thought handled it well. You know, a joke that could be offensive. Yes. Was offensive. Yes. Not could be. It was. But how he handled this man coming to the stage and slapping the out of him, I think it's commendable, because I don't know if you could have stood there and let somebody just walk up there and just, that could have went wrong in so many ways.
Right. And you said a lot because a lot happened.
A lot
So
happened.
what I think I would like for all of us to do is to think that now we're reacting to Will's reaction. We get the benefit to scrutinize how he behaved in the moment.
Right.
And like you're saying, in the moment, we don't know how we would have responded. Not saying that he was right and one was right and one was wrong, but in this case, there can be a couple of things wrong, but there can also be a couple of things right. So if you're of the opinion that the joke was in bad taste and was wrong, if that's your opinion, that's fine. But also, like you just said, Tammy, the response that Chris Rock had to Will Smith coming up there, that was a very commendable response.
It was.
So while he may have been wrong in some people's opinion, and again, I'm just stating what I've heard other people say. I'm not really giving my opinion on this because I'm reacting to his in the moment reaction. I've got time to scrutinize how he reacted. I've got the opportunity to scrutinize what he did or said, what he should have did or said, and all that kind of stuff, because it's not me.
Right.
I'm not the one who was in the fishbowl.
Right.
But to your point, if the joke was in bad taste, if you feel like the joke was in bad taste, you have to feel like, in my opinion, that Chris Rock's response to being slapped on national TV was the high road after that. And I think, as you pointed out to me, at one point he bit his lip and he was like, I could say, I could really come at you, but he chose not to. He didn't make it go on and on and on. And for those of us, and for those of us who are able to remember during the rise of the gangster hip hop era, when we had the East Coast, West Coast thing going on, with Snoop and Biggie and Tupac and Eazy and all those folk, that could have gone a lot of different ways.
It could have gone so many different ways. And I'm so glad, good God, I'm so glad that it didn't. And so, like for us, always we're trying to assess and figure out, okay, how we handle it. I know, I don't think it was just about the alopecia joke. I just honestly don't think, I think it was a buildup because they have so much going on in the public's eye. I think it was just a whole buildup of all this stuff. Because like I just said, could you deal with the fact of an open relationship? Most men cannot. And then the other thing, can you, if you're trying to, for me, I don't want you trying to protect me in that manner. Not at this stage in the ball game. That's not protection for me, because that could have went wrong in so many ways. Now I got a whole nother issue that I got to worry about because of maybe an explosive response. Now, have I heard you say on more than one occasion that you would die for me? Like if something were to happen, you put yourself in front line and somebody come for me or do certain things that you rather go before it happened to me. And I've seen you quickly respond to certain things to indicate that would definitely be the case. But in my mind's eye, somebody saying something about me or doing, that's not how, I said that to you immediately when we saw it, was not the way I would want you protecting me. And I think the minute I saw you, the fire in your eyes, or that look that I know you get, and most women that have husbands or boyfriends or whatever, we know that look y'all get when you fired up mad and you finna do something crazy, stupid, dumb. And so for me, I think the first thing I said to you when it came out was, that's not how I want you protecting me. I don't want you putting yourself in harm's way or in a sense demeaning who you are because you're trying to protect me. And that wasn't protection because somebody made a comment or picked at me about something like that. I don't need that kind of protection. If you felt
Right.
like you need to go say something to him afterwards or whatever,
Right.
I could have dealt with that. But
Right.
I think that, was he wrong if he knew that she had alopecia and we're under the assumption that he did?
Right.
Then okay, he wrong. You
Right.
know, I'm not saying that. Was Will wrong? I think his response could have been a different or better response. I just
Mm-hmm.
hate that they both were even in this situation at
Mm-hmm.
all. Keisha says Will knew better than that, even as he was walking up there, what he was thinking at the moment. Nothing else mattered to him. Right. I just think that
That's an excellent point.
it's an excellent point, Keisha. And I think that I don't think this was about no freaking alopecia. I'm sorry. I just don't. They had to go through so much. Will has been the butt of so many jokes. I think I was able to see today, just earlier before that even happened, Regina Hall had did another joke. Well, of course, Will the butt of that joke based on Jada putting them out that they got an open relationship, you know. So even then he's laughing, trying to play it off, and Jada's winking and pointing at her like, yeah, like it's cool, you know what I'm saying? So again, in a man's eye, another man looking at him, it ain't cool that this is what y'all got going on.
Right. And he knows this is being telecast throughout the
all
whole
over
world.
the world. So I
You
just
know what I
think it's a
mean?
buildup of so many things.
And again, I'm not judging him from that standpoint because his life was in the fishbowl. You know, I'm not criticizing his response,
right?
Per se. All I'm saying is I wish, you know, I don't know how I would have responded. But again, we get the benefit of Monday morning quarterbacking his decision that he made in the moment.
Right.
That he made in the moment. But I think the point that you're bringing home is very true. That it probably wasn't that moment. It's probably a buildup.
I think it's a buildup.
Yeah, a culmination of things, and always being the butt of the joke. He's trying to be supportive to his wife. This, you know, I don't know anything about the relationship like that. You know, the entanglement, the memes, it is that years and years and years of being the butt of a joke. And now, you know, here I am defending myself and my wife, so to speak, you know.
For kind of a situation that you kind of put yourself in. Will, I just think that it could have been, I think he's in the middle of a meltdown, breakdown. That's what it looked like to me. I don't know, because I ain't no doctor. But I think that we may need some more unpacking for them to be in a settled place. I do know, like I said to you before, that I know you. And I know Rochelle says, I agree, Gabrielle. I don't want my husband acting like that either, not over a joke. And I also know that when you're fixing to do something you should not be doing. There have been plenty of times when I look at you and say, don't you dare. Or don't you move, or we just give each other a look like this ain't the time for it. And so I think that, I don't know, I can't speak on what they love look like and all this, but I do know there are times when I've watched you about to give a response that could be hurtful, and I'm able to say, not right now. That's not good. And so I think when she saw that, and we know, I think one lady I heard saying, we know how to push the men in our lives to get some of the responses that, you know, we want. Like, so, because they feel like they are our protectors. So that's my thing on that. I just think that Will was dead wrong for walking up there, dabbing that man in the face. Maybe a bad joke at the wrong time, but I still don't think the response, that just seems so over the top.
It did seem
that all y'all have already dealt with based on information that you put out there, you know, and stuff like that. So I just overall totally disagree with that, and just hate that it even occurred at all.
I think
hopefully they can move on.
I think of course, coming out of it, because they're celebrities, you know, there's a lot of conversation going on in every community, whether it's the sports world, the political world, the entertainment world, church world, you know, non-church world. There's a lot of dialogue going around about this response, the manner of the joke itself. You know, all of us have been young adults or been in situations where we felt like someone was being picked on and they shouldn't have been being picked on. And, you know, maybe we felt like we were going to come to it. So it's a lot of dialogue about this situation going about. And I think that's good.
I think that's good. I think I disagree with the way Will handle it, but again, you can't ever really say under the same pressure, inner and outward pressures, how you would definitely handle a situation.
Right.
I would like to think at this stage in the ball game and in my life that I've developed some coping skills.
He's in his 50s, man. This man
That
is
would help me to not go back to doing what I did in my 20s
in
and
my
30s.
20s and 30s.
At this point, so that's just our opinion. Everybody can have a different opinion if they want to. They can think something different. That's just my opinion. Because have I been that person? Yes. Am I that person today? No. So I just think that he just has a lot going on that needs to be unpacked and dealt with. Now, let's move real quickly because I don't want to stay here too long. We already got 21 minutes on our belt. Ketanji Brown Jackson, the Honorable Ketanji Brown Jackson. Now, on the other hand, I am like beyond proud of how she conducted herself and handled herself when they were saying stuff to her. They said a couple of cuss words to her, and stuff like just. And this is somebody who was, as they went through the confirmation hearings for taking that seat, was overly qualified if you compared her record to the ones that are already in that role.
She'll be the most qualified person.
She is the most qualified candidate that would be seated, and so it was just blatant, sometimes disrespectful, and I didn't get to hear all of it. I heard parts of it. So your thoughts on that real quickly?
Well, it's a major accomplishment. It's a major step forward as far as Black people as a whole. Another representation for women and another representation for us as people as a whole. And so, prayerfully, I know some younger people may not understand this, and you get tired of hearing it because the United States is more inclusive now, but it hadn't always been this way. It hadn't always been this way. So to hear my parents say, or some of your grandparents say, this is a very proud moment, please don't take that lightly, and please don't look down at them, because some of the benefits that you have today weren't always afforded to us, and it hadn't been that long ago. So, but to your question, I really like the way she handled herself during the confirmation hearings. Some people feel like the confirmation here was a little, from the conservative standpoint, was a little over the top. I tend to agree with that.
Yeah.
I tend to agree with that. I like the way Cory Booker sort of reined things in for her.
Oh, he was excellent.
He was great.
Excellent. Love the brother.
Yes. At some point, maybe we'll get back to regular politics and not this cultural war type of politics.
Well, here's the thing, like you're saying, it's more inclusive now. But the other part of that is, like we were saying, that it is more inclusive, but we still have to do more, and be better just to get what everybody they have it and don't have half the qualifications that she has.
Right.
And a couple of them have only served on
They've never been judges before.
They've never been judges. Most of them, the majority of them, it was only one level. I had it on my phone that they had served as even in the form of a judge at all. And so they had served a court of appeal judges. Almost all of them have served on that. Kagan hasn't even served on that. So she checks off every block. And they may check off 2 or 3, you know what I'm saying? So, but it's a proud moment, and we should be proud. But the other thing is that we also have to still recognize that we still have to do more. We have to work harder to get the same benefits. And I think that still needs to be discussed, because that should not be continuing to happen. But besides all of that, I want to say that I thought the Honorable Judge Ketanji Brown Jackson did an amazing job at keeping her composure and handling them well. I couldn't be proud of that. Don't know, like I said, unless you've been in it, you don't know how you're going to handle it. So I'm proud of how she handled it.
Can you imagine this? Can you imagine this? A judge of her qualification and of her background, anybody of her qualification and her background, testifying under oath and then being called a liar.
Right. It was a lot said.
This is a judge in a court of law.
Right.
And you're actually saying that this person is lying to you about some things, and you're implying, all the implications that were being made to try and discredit her. But she handled it well. I tip my hat to her. I really do.
I thought she did an awesome job. And going back to if we're talking about the way Will's handled some things that they've kind of put on the table, and sometimes we open doors for things ourselves, and we're gonna be honest about that too. But then the flip side for Judge Ketanji Brown and her husband was he had to sit there and listen to them degrade and attack her character, knowing that a lot of the stuff they were saying was lies. They weren't even true, just to try to pull her down. Right. And so I have to say she did an impeccable job, but I also have to come back and say he did an impeccable job. He was there to console and hold her when it was done. She knew he would be in place and ready to do what he needed to do. And I would like to say, because for a lot of strong women, that's what we need, because we're going to do our job. But I need to make it come somewhere and be like, okay, well, I know this person got me. When all this is said and done, y'all not the ones that really matter to me like that. I know where I go and get what I need. Michelle said, yup, they weren't even this hard on Amy Coney Barrett, and she wasn't disqualified. Black Girl Magic was definitely not not. Keisha said, yes, he was. He was there. They showed a couple of the pictures when she would turn around, he would hold and just give a kiss on the head a couple of times. You see them just kind of giving a look at each other like, and that's what I mean by we talk with our eyes and our gestures and stuff like that to say, okay, enough. Okay, you got this. Okay, we good. So all this stuff becomes a part of our language, which is why I was like, did Jada not use that yesterday? You know what I'm saying? So that's my other question. Did she use her womanly influence to keep her husband from doing something that would overshadow what was a great day for him? Would have been a great day for him. But with that being said, I think Ketanji did. The Honorable Judge Ketanji did an excellent job. I think her husband handled himself really well to sit there and know that how they were trying to make her feel and not give her the credit for her accomplishment. So that's my little spiel.
Okay.
The other women you guys weren't able to get on with me today. I thought LaFay was going to make it, but she didn't get to make it in either. But I had my special guest, Mr. Christopher Alexander Barton. Join me. I want to thank you guys for coming in and joining us for our little chitter chatter, but it was just too much going on for us not to throw out there. Okay, this is where I stand. We want you guys to hear that. Sometimes we'll start getting phone calls, people talking about this stuff. So here, this if somebody asks, they just go ahead and look at it. That's what I'm going to tell them. Go back and look at what we said, But I just wanted to make sure that we put this on here and encourage people before you have those meltdowns. Go get the help you need. Before all this stuff build up on the inside, internal pressure and external pressures. Go get the help that you need. So when you're sitting on that podium and somebody talking crazy, you can handle yourself like Ketanji and her husband did. We good, whatever.
I'm gonna say this. So I'm gonna say this, and I'm gonna let you close it out. Where I thought the joke was in bad taste, I really did. I thought I was disappointed in Will Smith's response to the joke, but I really felt like Chris Rock showed us that you can respond by not responding. You don't have to be reactionary. You don't have to be violent. You don't have to be demonstratively violent. He could have said, go back and look at the clip. He was like, I could say some things. But I'm sure that was tough for him because, we're used to action, reaction, react.
Of course that was tough. He's a comedian.
Yes.
He off the top of comedian. He could have said, you got to think, Jada and Will, their whole life, they just exposing
themselves. They live in fishbowl. They put all their business out there.
He could have went off on him.
So where I think the joke was in bad taste, his response to Will, I think, was very commendable. And, he made a bad situation not be worse.
Right. And so for the women that are saying, that's what he should have done. He protected that. What was he protecting her from? a punch or a slap didn't protect me from the words that he just said. I mean, I'm not trying to be funny. I'm just saying, to me, that's not the kind of protection. When I feel safe with you or I feel comfortable about you, that's not the protection I'm looking for. And so I think we need to be able, I think some of that comes with a little growth.
Right, it
And a
does.
little maturity to understand that really that's not the kind of protection I
Because
need.
I've had private conversations with people who I thought were disrespectful to you.
Yeah.
And in
Right.
those private conversations, it got
Right.
heated. I
Right.
was heated.
Right.
But I didn't want to embarrass you
It brings
publicly
more
like that with
embarrassment.
my
Now
response.
everybody dissecting
Yeah.
our lives, figuring out
Yeah.
what's wrong.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, quite honest, we all going back to everything that
Yeah.
that don't happen, and all these
Right.
entanglements and all that,
Right.
and all this extra stuff you got going on. Now we saying, okay, something else that could not have been just about alopecia. So
Right.
that's on that, whatever Rochelle is saying, she told Ayla the same thing. So that's on that. And again, I just want to, I'm grateful for the example that we did see from the judge and her husband. And like you said, Chris Rock did do an excellent job on handling, what had occurred. So I can say that I disagree with what Will did. Again, you can't never say what you will and will not do.
Right.
In a situation. Right. So we're not saying that, but I still can say whether I think something was right or wrong. Even if I did it, I would have to say that was not the right way to handle it, So with that being said, again, thank you guys for joining in, giving us 30 minutes of your time. And that's it for me and Mr. Barton. And we were the only ones doing the hot seat tonight. But every now and then we'll do a hot seat with hot topics, just to give our opinion and also to hear from you guys. So have a blessed day. We appreciate y'all joining us and look forward to the next time.